All right, Panther fans. So doing this a little bit differently today. Still sick, and I guess it's safe to say at this point I've got COVID. We'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna wish I was dead. I feel like I'm dying, but Fluffy's still alive, so that's how you know I ain't dead or dying. Yeah. Now, um, I just wanted to go over a couple of things because I'm not going to have another stream tonight. A lot of this is stuff I would normally cover during the pregame stream, and I'm going to try to get a recap out tonight though. I've been sleeping like all day, every day, so it was like I had trouble sleeping last night because I've been napping so much during the day. So hopefully I can get a recap up, but there's so much is going on, and I keep missing and not making videos, so I wanted to get into it. So first thing we'll talk about Johansson. Um, you guys already know. I'm bringing up the article now. You know, we claimed Jonas Johansson off waivers from the Avalanche and 30 career appearances. He's 26 years old. He's compiled a 9-11-4 record with an 893 save percentage and a 3.09 goals against average in one shutout. He's 6'5", so he's a big goaltender. So, um, look, we've talked about it a ton on this channel about Spencer Knight and how normally, you know, young goaltenders are not normally backups. They don't make good backups because they need opportunities to work on the things that are going wrong with their game. I think Knight came up last year at the end of the season to get a couple of games in. You know, our playoff position was pretty much set. We had Bobrovsky and Drieger. Everything was fine. Going to give Knight some games that the kid gets some experience, and he blows up and looked like the second coming of Andrei Vasilevsky for 5 minutes. Then we get into the playoffs. Sure, keep him on the roster, let him have the experience. Bobrovsky lays an egg, then Drieger laid an egg, then Bobrovsky. I lost track of how many eggs those guys laid. So boom, enter Spencer Knight, and he pushes this season in the series to a game 6 and played pretty damn well in game 6. Though there was a couple cracks there, but for a 20-year-old kid, obviously, he played out of his mind in the playoffs. It's just can't take anything away from him. So fast forward to, and this is where I've been building this narrative during the off season, and not that I want to be right or have it to be true, but something went funky because if you go back, I've made videos on all these subjects, but somewhere before development camp, an NHL article came out where Spencer Knight was talking about how good it was going to be for him to have this open competition with Bobrovsky. Then development camp came, and if you watch the videos, I was not happy with how Spencer Knight looked. Everybody told me to calm down, Josh. It's just development camp. They're not, they're not playing a lot of defense, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of backed off of that, but he was giving up a lot of goals. He didn't look like himself. Sure enough, first day of camp, Q and the coaching staff said Bobrovsky was going to get the bulk of the workload. So somewhere in there was a miscommunication because in June, Spencer Knight thought he was going into camp to have an open competition. Now, I'm not saying that there should have been, but clearly at some point he thought there was, and then for all we know, that was the first he heard that there wasn't going to be a competition was, opening day training camp, coach saying that Bobrovsky was going to get the workload. So whether they talked to him about that, behind the scenes, or whether he found that out, that first day of camp, we're probably never going to know. But at some point he thought there was going to be open competition. There wasn't. And maybe the Panthers saw how he looked in development camp and said, maybe not ready. So, first thing is, moral of the story is, stop telling me to calm down. If I say I see something in a player, give it 5 minutes. Give it 5 minutes, to to come to fruition, because what we saw in development camp is kind of continued on this regular season. And there's been spots he's looked good. There's been no spots where he's looked like the same kid from last year. And this kind of leads me into the 8-2 shellacking that we took the other night, where I didn't do a recap. We talked to Billy Lindsay yesterday. Obviously, most of you probably watched that video. And his take, when I asked him the question whether there was probably a conversation before the New Jersey game, or in general, where like, Spencer, you're the guy, this is your net, and we don't care how many goals you give up, you're going to go out there and you're playing the whole game. And Billy kind of felt like, yeah, there might have been a conversation similar to that, because it's the one thing to have left him in 7-3 against the Devils when we weren't sure how healthy Bobrovsky was so he could come in. This last game, sorry, too much vitamin C. This last game though, eight, they left him in for 8 goals, all 8 goals, and he clearly was he was clearly losing confidence by the second. Now, a couple of things with that. It seems to me like it's obvious at this point that he already would have had to have known that he was going to be left in the game no matter how many goals he gave up. I can't imagine a situation where after the New Jersey game where they talked and said, next time we'll take you out after the 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, right? So he has to have known that he was going to be left out there. So that was one of the things I was, screaming about when we left him in against New Jersey. I was screaming that it was a fireable offense, because how do you leave the kid in there? That's a way to ruin a young goaltender. Now, if you've already told the kid no matter what he does, you're going to leave him in, then I guess the kid's got to be mentally prepared for that. So we leave him in for these 8 goals the other night, and one of the goals that I've been, I know you guys have heard me, I've bitched about it every time. One of the goals that finally happened where he was putzing around, handling the puck behind the net, where he's very, very raw. Needs a lot of work handling that puck behind the net. And sure enough, puck comes around the board and ends up in the back, ends up in the back of our net, because he couldn't get back into position quick enough. And so just that alone, that part of his game he needs to work on, because he likes to go back there and handle the puck, but he's freezing when he's doing it. And this time it cost us. Now, at least it didn't cost us in a game where it was a 1-goal game and it actually cost us points. So that's a positive there. Now, with Johansson coming in, is this guy? Look, he's coming in because Bobrovsky's been playing lights out and probably said that he can handle more of a workload. I don't think you're going to see the same split here where like every 3 games Bobrovsky gets a night off with Johansson. I think you're going to see Bob getting 6, 7, 8 games before Johansson gets in. I saw some people asking, well, what happens if something happens to Bobrovsky? If Bobrovsky gets injured to the point where, Johansson's going to have to play more than a game, my feeling is that Knight will come back up and be the backup, or maybe even, depending on how he's been playing in the AHL, he probably would be inserted as the starter. So I don't think that this is anything more than, the team that we have is good enough to make the playoffs, right? We're going to be in one of those top 3 seeds unless we just absolutely tank and blow it up. Now, Knight's got to play. And you've got Gibson there in the AHL, which is kind of a waste because we're not really developing a guy there that's going to be a future anything for us. So Knight needs to go down. He needs to work on his game. He gets get his confidence back. Fine. Send him down. Now, I meant to look at this, but I'm not going to look at it now because I'm in the middle of the video. I don't know what Johansson's cap hit is, but Remember, we put Notavara on LTIR, so there was some extra room created there. If we get into a situation where Knight goes to the AHL and he's still not, he's not kicking ass, right? If that happens, I don't believe we're going into the playoffs with Bobrovsky and Johansson. I believe that if we send Knight down and he doesn't regain form, I think come trade deadline, we might be looking for, a Drieger-ish competent backup. Johansson, we're not going in the playoffs with Johansson as our backup. If we do, y'all can throw puppet clothes at me or something, because that would just be stupid to have this team assembled and to go into the playoffs with this guy as our backup. So I think this is a low risk temporary move. I think the thought process here might be like, look, especially with that Olympic break, what is it? December. You could send, Spencer down for January, February, March, give him 3 months of playing time, playing on a regular basis, let him regain his form. I think we're all confident that he will. And then maybe at that point you bring him back up and say, okay, kid, you're the backup, you're the backup to Bob for the playoff run. So that's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but I kind of, I wanted to get my thoughts there. In terms of the rest of the game, the 8-2, there's always those throwaway games. I'm not going to sit here and repeat all the excuses. It was a crappy game. And, I could say, let's just move on, except now tonight against the Kings, if there is a game, which it sounds like there's going to be, this is going to be another game where you could possibly say, throw it away, only because I'm moving to the Discord now, because the guys have been keeping me up to date here on what the lineups for the day are. And my laptop has been really freezing up on me. It's not working right. And now my mouse is gone. So right here in the middle of the video, I got all this technical work difficulty. Okay, let's see. So the latest as of 2 o'clock today was that Ekblad, Bennett, Montour, and Lomberg are not on the media site roster. Verhaeghe and Radko Gudas, both of whom entered COVID protocols on Wednesday, are still there. Spencer Knight was removed earlier today. He's going to AHL Charlotte. And per the NHL's media site, Deanna Cinco, Kiersted, Chase Prisky, and Cole Schwimp are now on the Panthers roster. It's beautiful. Another thing here is Brunette says Marchman is probably only another week or two away from returning, so that's good. The lines, when I say X, I mean there's literally an X. We don't know who, how, or what. Reinhardt with Huberdeau and Duclair, Lundell with Heponiemi and Tippett. That could be a fun line, really. I'm not disappointed in getting that opportunity. I'm not going to lie. Thornton with Lusterine and Hornquist, that's the third line. And then the entire fourth line is X's, so we don't know who. And then the top pairing, jeez, this is bad. The top pairing is Uyghur, Ulevi, and then Carlson with X, and then the bottom pair is X and X. So whatever happens tonight, I can't believe they're going to make us play this game, man. And you would have thought they made such a big deal about making sure that everybody got their shots, that you would have thought when a team that was fully, completely vaccinated had a run like this, where like we're missing how many guys, 4, 5, 6 possible guys, you would think that that's when the league would step in and say, okay, since y'all got vaccinated and y'all sick anyway, or at least positive, you don't have to play tonight. There's plenty of time to make up a game like this. This seems absurd, but it looks like they're going to make us play anyway. So, what are you going to do? We're going to get to see some players tonight. That'll be fun. If we hadn't just lost 2 in a row, it would be a little bit more of a fun opportunity to see some guys. Like I said, Lundell with was it Heponiemi or Tanasenko? Let me look back at that again. Yeah, Lundell with Heponiemi and Tippett. Um, I'm not. I'm all for that. I'm all for seeing how that line goes. And Heponiemi's played a handful of games, so it's not like it's his first game out there. I believe he plays in the games with us last year, if I'm not mistaken. So in terms of tonight, guys, if we play this game, um, we're just gonna have to roll the dice with it and just have some fun with it. There's nothing that we're gonna learn really about this team's Stanley Cup chances or anything like that. We'll get to see some of the depth on display. That's for sure. Levy is on our top pairing. So we're definitely we may get some answers tonight. We may not like some of the answers, but it is what it is. The league is going to make us play this game the way it looks, and the beat just will have to go on. Now I'm probably what's it, 3 o'clock now? The game's at 7 o'clock. Most likely, I'm going to feel well enough to do a recap. Excuse me, jeez. It may just be an old school recap where I just do the post game. I probably won't have an intro and the intermission segments and everything like that, unless something really warrants it. And this is enough of a pregame preview for that. And plus, we're not going to know. We probably won't know until we turn on the TV and they start skating who's actually on the ice. So we'll just have some fun with it. So, but everything else set aside, if you haven't watched the video from Billy yesterday, go ahead and do that. We definitely got in a few good questions in terms of the coaching situation as well. I guess I'll touch on that here real quick. In fact, that was the one thing that we asked him about. That seems to be more disagreement in the chat, in the comments, in terms of whether or not we need a coach and everything like that. And I've been getting a few comments, especially from one of my buddies, Jake, where he kind of feels like coaching really only matters so much, and it's about the players. And I don't necessarily disagree to some extent. Now there are some coaches. I mean, let's call it that team back in 16. That team was playing for Gerard Gallant, right? There are some coaches where the team will just run through a brick wall for you. Brindamore is another one of those guys. And coaching does have an effect, obviously, with the line changes and matching and everything like that. So I do think it has somewhat of an effect, but all things being equal, if your guy is not getting completely thoroughly outcoached, it's up to the players. And we've seen it with the inconsistency with this roster since we lost Q. Now, I think that's another thing, and I didn't get a chance to bring this up with Billy, but some of you are going to rip me for this, but there is a part of me, there's a small part of me that feels like Brunette's kind of getting the shit end of the stick in terms of we were undefeated with Q. We were this masterpiece, right? It was not sustainable. We weren't going to go 82-0. So when we compare how we were doing with Q versus how we're doing with Brunette, yeah, I've done it. I'm the one, biggest cheerleader that we were 7-0, right? So it's kind of an unfair comparison. And to be honest with you, I think the team that we've been seeing since Q was gone, we've seen it now, 20 games he's had? 20? I think that's right. This is the team we have. The 7-0 was a beautiful start. It was a beautiful thing, but let's be honest. Bobrovsky was out of his mind. Okay, you couldn't get anything past the dude. And there's been a couple cracks in that armor. We were completely healthy for the most part, right? And we were excited. We had the full energy. We were completely taking advantage of all of our speed and everything. Everything was going in the back of the net, right? Every shot, we were having so much luck. Even Owen Tippett got some goals there. I threw you Tippett haters a bone there, all right? And look at that lineup for tonight. Owen Tippett is blessed with opportunity. There's no, you can't say that. You can't say the kid hasn't had a chance now. He has been blessed with every method and mode of opportunity this year where he would have been out of the lineup any other year. But Now half the team has COVID, so he's still suddenly somehow still out there in the top 6. So whatever he makes of that opportunity is all on him. But in terms of the coach, I do agree with the one thing that Billy said, where I wouldn't want to fire him. You just slide, I said, just slide Brunette back to where he was and bring in a veteran guy. I don't think we're going to see a change. I really don't. Unless, because at worst with this roster, the worst we're going to do is just above 500 hockey. And I don't think that you would see a change unless this team fell out of the top 3. And we're so far ahead of everybody, below the top 3. I don't think it'll happen. It could. It's obviously possible, but we're still, freaking out about 2 and 3 and 4 game losing streaks. We haven't gone on a real humdinger. All right. Like Billy said, go look at the record of the 96 team, the team that went to this cup. We did not finish the season well at all. I mean, it was bad. It was like 7-1 or 7-3. I mean, we finished terribly. And so it really is just all about getting in, staying healthy, getting these guys healthy. Oh, and the last thing I'll talk about here, what we talked about with Billy about with the Olympics. Yeah, the whole thing with the whole new quarantine rules. If you get sick over there and you're gonna have to stay over there for a specific amount of time, and all of that, maybe that may just all change and we may not go. That's fun because that's going to mean chaos, and I love chaos because chaos means I can make videos and people will watch them. But yeah, if they don't go, then like somebody had mentioned in the live stream, there's a mess because the basically would just have to shut things down anyway because the venues are already booked, everything's already scheduled out. So if they don't go, I think the only thing that they can do is just have this extended break. And I would love that. That would be, can you imagine if these guys in February just get to sit home and take 3 weeks off and just have a pancake and get a massage? Can you imagine the level of play after that and into the playoffs? Because these guys have had all that time to rest their body. It would be, the playoffs it would be the best playoffs ever because guys would not be nearly as beat up. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. So, all right, that's enough. That's enough, Eric. Shut up. I gotta go. I gotta go give the dog a bath. I'm sitting here sick as a dog, and not Fluffy, but Ellie. Ellie rolled in something. She rolled in something, and I mean, when she walks by, it's like, hey, is that a poltergeist? I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. So I'm going to upload this and I'm going to go do that. So like I said, tonight, no stream. I will have a recap. It'll probably be old school where it's just the post game segment. And if by any stretch of a chance you don't see a recap up, that means I fell asleep watching the game on the couch, and that's the truth of it. So, all right, guys, I appreciate all the support, and I will see you guys hopefully with the recap after I don't know who scores the winning goal because we don't even know who's playing.